Hi everyone, so we're on to day one of our Super Skies watercolour challenge. Please do check out the Facebook group. It's linked in the description if you want to join that, so you can get some feedback along the way. You can post your pictures as you're painting them and I'll give you some feedback directly. It's really nice, a really nice community. So today is our first one and we are doing this atmospheric sky. So all of these have come from students' pictures, so they're all very different. So let's crack on and do our first challenge. Okay, so this super sky has come from my Facebook group. All of these skies in this series have come back from my Facebook group. So we're going to have a line of land very, very low. This paper is Saunders Waterford. It's about 5 by 7 inches. And it's a cotton paper, it's rough. I'm going to pop a little bit of a tree in here and a few loose trees, so we're going with that one. Okay, so I have got a selection of colours here which I'm going to show you how I'm going to mix up. If you don't have any of these colours, I want you to try and get the nearest alternative that you have. The brushes that I'm going to be using today are round number 10, a round number 6 and a number 2 rigger. So pretty standard brushes. So I've got a very pale yellow. This is cadmium yellow pale. So I am using all Cotman colours and they're either transparent or semi-transparent. So you could use something like a Naples yellow, you could use a raw sienna. I've just dabbed in a little bit of water onto a pea-sized blob and I've got a really nice pale yellow. Rinse my brush out. This is all with my round number 10. I'm going to take another dab of water in. I'm just going to take some of that rose into it. So this is permanent rose. And I've just got a nice warmth. I need a nice gentle warmth. I need all these colours to be fairly consistent. So if you like pale, I want you to go pale. If you like bolder, then you're going to go bold with all of them. It's important they don't battle against one another, and to do that in a wet wash you need them to be consistent. So this one is cerulean blue, so a nice bright blue. So I'm just giving that a good mix in, checking that's nice and consistent. Then I've got some cobalt blue here, so a darker blue, and this is going to form my cloud. So I don't want to put as much water in that because I want it to be a bit thicker. I'm going to mix that in. Cobalt blue is fairly strong anyway. And then I'm going to take some burnt sienna into that. So the cloud in this picture is a bluey grey, so we're making our own bluey grey. Any brown going into a cobalt or ultramarine blue will make a nice grey. So I've got a lovely bluey grey there. Why don't I use Payne's grey? Because it's quite a shooty pigment, so Payne's grey will go too far. I'm choosing the pigment that will work for the picture. And then what I've got here is some indigo, which I'm just going to leave that neat for now. So they're my colours. And I'm going to come on with some water. So I'm just checking my brush is nice and clean because we just mixed that grey. And we don't want a mucky, horrible sky at the bottom. Now we're on a small piece of paper, so we're constrained a little bit as to where we can go. So I'm going to go down to around number 6. If you're on a bigger piece of paper, then you can stick with around number 10. So what I'm doing now is coating the whole of this sky all the way down to the line of the land with water. There's no puddles, there's no dulled bits that are dry, it's all nicely coated. Then I'm going to swap down to my round number 6. Checking again it's clean, and I'm going to come in to my lightest colour first. So this nice pale yellow. And we're going to bring this in towards the bottom where this lovely light is, and I want you to leave a little bit of a white gap. So that means just not taking the paint quite as far as you want to take it. You take it through, you're going to leave that little bit of a gap there. Rinse my brush out. I'm going to dab it off on the kitchen towel because I've diluted my paints already. I don't want to dilute them any further by taking more water in. And I'm going to bring in a little bit of the rose. Now, it's very little amount of rose. It's just giving the yellow a bit more warmth in places. What it also does very nicely is make sure you don't get any greens, because yellow and blue make green, but yellow, blue and rose make a grey. So it's just stopping you getting that green. So it's quite a nifty little trick to have, really. You can take a little bit of the rose. You see how I've changed my motion now. It's more circular and dabbing into that top section. Now I'm going to come into the cerulean blue. So I'm going to start to get some of this on, but I'm focusing on where the white cloud is. So I don't want to eliminate all of the white cloud. With this sky, I've chosen to keep it all soft. So we will do another sky that will involve lifting out, so you'll get sharper cloud. And the key is to think you're creating an impression of a sky. It doesn't have to be exact. Now, can you see how I'm pushing that brush down? And that's controlling the paint. I'm dipping into the paint quite a lot, but that push of the brush down means I'm getting a nice cloud shape, and it's controlling the paint. It's stopping it flowing too far. So I've got some lovely clouds appearing. You can see where I've mixed those colours. I haven't got a green. Okay, rinse my brush off, dry it off. I'm going to come into the grey now. And again, nice circular motion. So we're layering up this cloud now. So we've got the lighter cloud already in there, and we're going to bring this darker cloud in. And the trick is to not have too much on the brush. You can dab some off on the kitchen towel. To release it at a point, it doesn't matter. So if I release it at the very end and when I want a fine wispy bit, that's no good. So I'll come back into the line of cloud and release a thicker bit, so that I don't end up with an explosion at the end where I've released the brush. So if I release in the middle of the thick bit, that works really nicely. So I'm dipping into the grey. If you've not got much on your brush, then you can wisp through. So there's a little bit of grey coming through here. I can wisp that through. I can dab off on the kitchen towel. If I need more on the brush than there is, dab off on the kitchen towel, and that stops it exploding too much. So I want some of this grey to come in towards the bottom. So the stroke has changed. It's changed from the round circular motion to a bit more gentle wisping across, left to right. I'm drawing with the paintbrush, dabbing off on the kitchen towel if I need to. Dab off so that I don't take too much in and lose my white. There's a few little wispy bits here. This is a combination of quite circular cloud and wispy bits, so you've got to do a bit of both in here. But what's quite nice when you make a grey yourself is you get this split out, so you can see little bits of that burnt sienna and little bits of the blue coming through. And that works really nicely. I'm just taking a little bit more in here, making sure you're leaving that beautiful light. You can come through the light. I want you to make sure you're leaving that really nicely. With skies, a lot of it is practice. You've got to practice doing them, and this is why this challenge is going to be fantastic, because you will practice. You'll practice several skies. You can come back in with little bits. The trick is when the sheen starts to go, you must stop. You can't carry on or you'll end up with hard lines.
So I'm just taking in a few little bits that are a bit bolder. Classically, it tends to be bolder to the top. This isn't happening in this sky. It's a bolder in the middle. So we're just going to go with that. Okay, I'm going to dry that one off. Okay, so we've got a beautiful, subtle, dramatic sky. You can see that as this is dried, this is all settled in nicely, and this is the difference between choosing the pigment that is right for the job. And it's about learning a little bit about pigments. So cobalt blue sits quite well, it doesn't shoot, and so does ultramarine blue, and you get this nice texture up here. With the phthalo-based pigments, you get more of a shoot, so it spreads out further, and then the clouds look very different and much more dramatic. So different blues work for different jobs. So we're going to put a little bit on this land now, so we finish off this picture nicely. It's all about the sky, but we'll finish each of these pictures off anyway. So I've popped a little bit of water with my round number 10. I'm going to use the colours that I have. It keeps the synergy within the picture. So we've got some green grass, so we're going to use a little bit of the cadmium yellow pale, and then we're going to take some of this cerulean within that. And rinse that one off. I'm going to pick up my round number 6. I'm just going to come into a little bit of the grey. Horizontal strokes denotes the surface, it's giving a little bit of shadow, working quite nicely. And then I've got a little bit of that burnt sienna. I can just dip into that and bring that a little bit into the foreground there. So I'll dry this one off. Okay, so that's nicely dry, and now we've got this lovely line of dark trees, and I'm going to use indigo for this. If you didn't have indigo, you could use a bit of Payne's grey. You could use a little bit of ultramarine and something like burnt umber mixed together. You basically want a nice dark colour to silhouette. So with my round number 6, I've dabbed into some water, and I'm going to start to get a line. So I'm keeping my brush upright, and I'm using the tip of the brush to create a little bit of texture, which could be foliage, it could be trees. I'm varying the line, I'm moving from one side to the other. So I'm not going to draw a line all the way across and then try to fill it in. Because we're working on to dry, it will end up with a hard edge. So you've got to work from one side to the other. So here I have got a bit more tree coming, you can see the sky through it, so we're going to dot a little bit, keeping that brush still upright. So you're getting that nice light shining through, and then if I take my rigger, I can just pull through a few branches so that I'm still keeping the light there. That little bit of light is quite important. And then carry on along this way. So we just got a line, we're varying the pressure of the brush. Make sure you've got plenty of paint on the brush. It's not too thick that it won't flow. So there's a dab of water in. And this is giving us this lovely silhouette. Varying the height again this side. And then I've rinsed my brush off because I want to just dab in with a damp brush. So this is much thinner. I can just bring in a little bit of shadow. So this is quite diluted indigo, and it works perfectly for the shadow. just giving a little bit of life. So you're sort of following the same lines and creating that little bit of shadow just there. Okay, I'll dry that one off. So there we go, all finished. So a little snapshot into skies. Please do join me for the rest of the challenge. Please do let your arty friends know as well. You can find my Facebook group in the description, and I'd love to see all of your pictures as you're going along and improving. I'll also put a folder in my Facebook group with all of the photos that we're using for this challenge.